China's holding of US government debt have now fallen to an 18-year low. And honestly, that's no longer the most surprising part of the story. The more dangerous signal for Washington is coming from Europe. America's closest allies hold trillions of dollars in US assets, and they are already reducing their dollar exposure. If that quiet shift accelerates, the Treasury market could face a problem far bigger than China alone could create. Global de-dollarization is going to continue because Washington keeps giving countries new reasons to reduce their dependence. China and the United States are competing across almost every major front: geopolitics, semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and global exports. Beijing has no interest in financing its main rival, especially when that rival could eventually turn around and sanction it. So China has been converting more of its trade surplus dollars into physical gold. What matters now is that Beijing's logic has spread far beyond China. The global tariff war has taught allies, neutral countries, and adversaries the same lesson: nobody is completely protected from American economic pressure. When Washington wants a particular outcome, it will use every financial tool available. There are no exceptions, and governments around the world have noticed it. Iran is now the clearest demonstration of how much control Washington has over the dollar system. Washington is preparing another major sanction package against Iran. The Treasury can target Iranian dollar assets held around the world, force institutions to freeze them, and pressure banks to stop processing Iranian trade even when another currency is used. Besant has made it clear that Washington intends to go much further.
And we went from epic fury to economic fury. And at the president's orders, we have raised the level even again. And watch this space for more announcements coming next week, because we are going to apply measures like have never been seen in the history.
Russia and Venezuela have already faced versions of this playbook. Iran now shows how quickly a country can lose access to global payments once its relationship with Washington collapses. There is an enormous amount at stake. Foreign investors hold about $9.3 trillion in US government bond. Japan owns more than $1 trillion, while the United Kingdom holds nearly $900 billion. Countries treat these assets as emergency savings, but savings are useful only when you can access them, and a military conflict or sanction dispute may not even be required. If the Treasury market enters a severe crisis, Washington could use emergency powers to prevent major foreign holders from selling. The executive authority already exists, while OFAC has the infrastructure to block transfers and withdrawals. 5 years ago, that probability would have sounded absurd. After Russian assets were frozen in 2022, the precedent is already there. The market is becoming more fragile as well. Besant recently tried to sell $42 billion of 10-year treasuries, but buyers demanded a yield of a 4.68%, the highest in 20 years and last seen in 2007. The next trigger could be an AI debt bubble breaking, or central banks deciding to liquidate large positions together. Foreign holders may eventually discover that the Treasury market has a wide entrance, while Washington controls the emergency exit. China trying to leave would hurt, but Europe trying to leave would be far more dangerous, and Besant was asked about that possibility directly in Davos.
EU governments and the UK about exercising the so-called nuclear option, which would be essentially to dump US treasuries. How is the Treasury Department and the White House prepared for that?
I just want to say this is a false narrative that there is no talk in European governments.
So you do not believe that the EU or the UK have any retaliatory financial instruments or measures in their bag that the United States should be worried about?
No.
That confidence looks questionable because Europe had already been moving in the opposite direction. In February, the European Central Bank made another deliberate cut to the dollar allocation in its official reserves. This followed an earlier sell-off that had already reduced the dollar share from 83% to 78%. The ECB used that proceeds from a dollar reduction to buy roughly 600 billion Japanese yen. And now, just a few weeks ago, Besant directed the Federal Reserve to sell billions of euros during the emergency operation to support the yen. The connection seems obvious. The ECB's decision likely provoked a retaliatory move. With Washington using Europe's currency to rescue the same yen Europe had just supported. There was also a larger reason for Washington to intervene. A collapsing yen was increasing pressure on Japan, which could have been forced to sell part of its treasury holdings to defend its currency. Supporting the yen reduced that risk. Washington was willing to weaken the euro to stabilize Japan and protect the US bond market at the same time. For European policymakers, that intervention confirmed that their currency can become collateral damage whenever the United States needs to protect a more important financial priority. Reserve management is now tied directly to political power. Trump made that connection explicit at Davos when the discussion turned to Europe's financial leverage.
European countries hold trillions of stocks and bonds from the U.S. Do you worry that they would start selling those in retaliation?
If they do, they do. But, if that would happen, there would be a big retaliation on our part, and we have all the cards.
His answer amounted to an open threat against a long-standing trading partner, and it gave Europe another reason to reduce its exposure. If the confrontation over Greenland was not enough to wake European leaders up, being threatened over assets they legally own certainly should be. EU investors collectively hold more than $10 trillion in American assets. A large share of that is private capital, so European governments cannot simply order all of it to be sold. But EU central banks alone account for roughly 40% of all foreign-held treasuries. Their holdings reached around $3.6 trillion by late 2025, and have probably increased further in nominal terms. That is 5 times China's position, 3 times Japan's, and 9 times Canada's. The scale gives Europe enormous leverage, even if selling aggressively would hurt its own investors. The shift began long before the Iran war or the latest tariff conflict. Treasuries have fallen from 25 to 14.5% of EU central bank reserves. The nominal amount may still be rising, but the percentage is moving decisively downward. Some of that money is being redirected into Eurozone debt, including French and German bonds. Europe would rather finance its own governments than keep expanding Washington's borrowing capacity. Christine Lagarde is advancing the same strategy through the digital euro and an integrated European payment system. Both projects are designed to protect Europe's financial sovereignty from outside interference. Europe doesn't need to dump the whole $3.6 trillion overnight. Simply reducing future treasury purchases is enough to change the market. But even with a stronger euro system, reserves remain tied to governments and payment network. Central banks are therefore looking beyond currencies altogether. And gold has become the obvious destination. In its June report, the ECB confirmed that gold has overtaken US Treasuries as the largest reserve asset held by central banks worldwide. It now represents roughly 27% of their combined reserves. The appeal is straightforward. Physical gold requires no payment from another government. It cannot be printed to cover a deficit. And when stored under national control, Washington cannot freeze it for its financial system. China's behavior during the latest price drop shows how determined these buyers have become. When gold fell from around $5,000 to $4,000, Beijing officially purchased at least 2 million ounces. Low prices didn't destroy demand. China simply bought more aggressively. And this goes far beyond Beijing. A remarkable 89% of central banks expect global official gold reserves to increase further. None of the institutions surveyed expects to sell its existing bullion even after gold's enormous price increase over the past 2 years. That's a powerful sign that central banks see gold as strategic protection rather than a short-term trade. The decisive turning point was the Russian asset freeze. Before that decision, global central banks bought fewer than 20 tons of gold across the entire 16-year period from 2006 to 2022. During the following 3 years, they purchased 5 times that amount. One policy decision completely changed how governments calculate the risk of holding dollars compared to physical metal. Much of this accumulation happens quietly. By the time official figures reveal the true scale, the positions have often already been built. Its impact then appears where Washington can least afford it, the Treasury market. As foreign demand weakens, Treasury auctions become harder to clear. Washington must offer higher yields to attract new demand. That raises the government's interest bill, expands the deficit, and forces even more borrowing. Each round creates additional debt for a shrinking pool of reliable buyers. Eventually, the United States faces 2 ugly choices. First, it could refuse to repay outright. This is the most destructive outcome, although still unlikely. The more realistic option is massive money printing from the Federal Reserve. Bondholders would receive every promised dollar, but those dollars could buy far less once the money supply expands. Washington is now preparing another economic isolation campaign against Iran, and more countries could face the same treatment later. Each new target makes diversification easier to justify, including the governments that still consider themselves American partners. Europe is where the gradual pressure matters most. It needs no dramatic $3.6 trillion liquidation. If European institutions keep reducing their new treasury purchases while financing their own governments and accumulating gold, Washington has no single event to block or retaliate against. So how much reliable foreign demand can the Treasury lose before today's weak auctions become a permanent feature of the market? And do you think the ECB will accelerate its move away from the dollar after Washington's latest threats? Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button and notification bell to stay updated. I'll see you in the next one.